Hello all and welcome to a brief overview of Pandora's Tower for the Wii. I'm not going to go into a huge amount of detail, but if people want a more in-depth review with things that actually relate to what I'm saying, rather than just random crap I recorded post-completion and hope for the best, I can do it, but it'll be a while as I have other reviews planned first, but hopefully this will do the job. The game revolves around Aeron, a soldier, and Elena, his love interest. Elena has been cursed and is gradually turning into a beast. The only way to stop her from transforming is to kill beasts in 12 towers and feed her the flesh you get from them, but that only works as a temporary fix. In order to break the curse, you have to defeat the master beast that resides at the top of each tower, pull out the master flesh and feed her those. While you're climbing the towers, Elena starts transforming, so you occasionally have to go back to base and feed her the flesh. The circle gauge in the bottom left corner shows you how close she is to complete transformation. Luckily, it takes about an hour for the transformation to happen, so it's not like you have to go back every 10 minutes. Plus, as you get further through each tower, you can drop ladders, activate lifts or unblock doors to make returning to base and getting back to where you left off easier. The towers are really well designed, even if towers 6 to 10 are essentially just harder versions of towers 1 to 5. Towers 11 and 12 are very different. The chambers where the master beasts dwell are locked by several chains. Each chain is held in place by a monument somewhere in the tower, so you have to find and destroy each monument in order to access the chamber and fight the master. The towers contain a number of great puzzles, and the master battles are puzzles in themselves, requiring you to figure out how to expose their master flesh in order to pull it out, and each master requires a different strategy. Unfortunately, I don't have any footage of any of the masters as I've already killed them all. As you explore the towers, you find notes and documents which explain more about the towers, why they were built, and how the mistakes of the past have led to current events, and they can also give you hints on how to defeat the masters. Elena does have some uses. You can talk to her and give her gifts which improve your relationship, and depending how good your relationship is will determine which of the 5 possible endings you get. She also gives you things every now and then to help you, and she translates notes you can find which further explains the backstory. Every now and then it will flick back to her while you're in the towers to show you what she's doing and how she's coping with the curse. She has a great personality, and it wasn't long before I actually started caring about her, and I genuinely felt sorry for her. There's also Mavda, who sells and buys stuff, combines items you find to make new items, and there are a hell of a lot of things to find and make, and she also upgrades your weapons. You may have noticed that there are a few melee weapons to choose from, but the main item you'll be using is the Oraclos chain, which Mavda gives you at the start. The chain can be used to aid you in combat, but it's mostly used to traverse the towers and solve puzzles. The combat itself is pretty good, and the 3 weapons you can get are pretty well balanced, but I like the scythe axe thing the most. Most enemies weren't too much of a problem, but there were some enemies, especially if they're in a group, that can take the piss a bit, like this. You may also have noticed that it's a fixed camera perspective, which I had a few issues with, but mostly causing Aeron to run in a different direction and off a ledge because the camera suddenly shifted position, but those times were few and far between. The music was also really good. There wasn't exactly a huge list of tracks, but the music it had worked really well. The voice acting was pretty decent too. I'm not entirely sure about Elena's voice, but on the whole it was done really well. Graphically, screw the term it looks good for a Wii game, it generally looks really good, especially during some of the cutscenes. The controls were also easy to master. You point at what you want to aim the chain at and press B. Combat is mostly done by pressing A or holding it down for a stronger charge combo, and then you can use the chain to spice things up a bit. Swinging an enemy round and launching them at a wall or another enemy never got dull. During the 5th tower, I did have my doubts about the game as it was starting to get a bit repetitive, but once I'd finished the tower, the game shifted and the twists started to appear. The further I got, the more I wanted to play. The game is really engrossing, and a number of times I accidentally whittled away 4 or 5 hours in one go. I like to take my time in exploring games like this, and I ended up with a 75% completion rate, which took me just under 30 hours. I was originally planning on getting either Xenoblade Chronicles or The Last Story before I got Pandora's Tower, but I found the Pandora's Tower Special Edition for £17, so I snapped it up and I don't regret it in the slightest. It's a great game which I would recommend to anyone. See you next time.